Sir, almost 33% of the students have a gap year. So either they are in college or they have a gap year or they have a experience, work experience. So my analysis is almost 33% of the CAT aspirants, ZAT, CMAT aspirants have a gap year. So from the interview point of view, I'm not talking about the final placement point of view, will that gap hamper my my job, or having a 1 year gap is not a big deal?
It depends where the gap is. If it is a gap during your studies.
So after study, I'm talking about after studies.
Correct. So if, for example, if you have a gap, or let's say, for example, instead of a BSc in 3 years, you complete it in 4 years, 5 years, and there is a gap of 1 year. Most recruiters would ask you what is the reason for this gap, and if you can justify it, they will not hold it against you. Similarly, if the gap is between courses, that means you finish your graduation and then you've been preparing for 1 year for an MBA and then you come here. It is a norm that most of the people who have sort of coming for interviews themselves would have done an MBA, 90% of them, and therefore they would know that it takes a lot of time, effort to prepare for your CAT and ZAT, and therefore recruiters, they will ask you, but they will not hold it negatively against you. They will look at your knowledge. They will look at whether you are able to justify what you did in that 1 year. Right? And if you say that, and they're okay, if you say that you have studied for 1 year for your MBA, they say, okay, great, now let's look at your knowledge skills.
Correct. So it's not a this thing, if I'm not having gap, interviewer is going to ask anyways.
He's going to ask, yeah.
It's his duty to ask.
Yeah, correct.
To web, and how you justify is more important.
See, so this is one part. Now let's say, for example, why an interviewer asks, or interviewer will ask to check whether that 1 year has not been lost out because of some other issues, correct? So therefore, to other issues, in the sense you could not cope up, you could not, let's say you decided to take a break and you joined somewhere as work, and then in between of graduation then joined back, then again left. So that inconsistency should not be there. Only then it becomes a problem. Otherwise they are very open to understanding your point of view.
Correct.
The world
and
is
if I can just justify, add on, rather than sitting home, I was preparing. The best thing is being honest. Sir, I was not able to give time to this thing, so I quit my job, or I took a gap of 1 year and prepared for this. Correct. But rather than sitting at home, this is my answer. Tell me if it's right or wrong.
Yeah.
I did a few certificates. I did a couple of internships. I went to NGO. I worked with the NGO. So if I can try to fill these kind of small bits, will I survive? Will this be a good thing to add?
Yeah, it is a good. Always remember, now we are also moving towards social responsibility, right? And therefore you brought the topic of an NGO. If you participated with an effort with an NGO, or you took up a small project, or you did a small 1 month, 2 months internship somewhere, these all add up into value creation for yourself. And therefore you prepared for your CAT. Great, CAT was over in December. And then interviews were there, say Jan, Feb, March, but then again there is another 3 months, 4 months. If you can add that, and if it shows on your CV, of course you have to back it up with certificates and experience certificate, that's equally important. It adds value, definitely it adds value.
Correct. So I normally say to everyone, okay, wherever you participate, wherever certificate you are getting certificates, इकट्ठे करो.
Yes.
कौन सा सर्टिफिकेट किधर काम आएगा पता नहीं. कोई नाचने को बोलेगा पहले पूछो सर्टिफिकेट देगा तो नाचो. Because at the end of the day, you never know what will help you with.
So the certificate comes handy, I'll tell you where. It is a proof that you have done something. Otherwise, there will be 10 other candidates says that, I have done this, but they don't have a single certificate to back it. How do we know who's speaking the truth versus not so much, right? So therefore, a certificate backs it up.
Correct. And you have to back up, because when you are selected for the interview, so suppose 5,000 people have been called for the interview, so all 5,000 have been qualified. So academic record gets over there. Yes. Your CAT score, everything got over. Now what is going to take you forward is all these extracurriculars.
Absolutely.
Your experiences.
In fact, even for MBA selection in let's say college like GIM, we definitely want to see a person who is more of a all-round performer. Right, and therefore if you have participated in sports, you have participated in any other extracurricular activities, always adds up like a positive, even for recruiters.
Correct. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.